Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. Today is accountability day, okay? So, as most of you know, I film mostly in my office, where I have, some bookshelves here and there, but a lot of my other books are in my living room. And a lot of the books I haven't read are in my living room. And a lot of those books that I haven't read that are in my living room are big fantasy books. So how is this accountability video? Because I am going to document most of the books that I haven't read that are fantasy, and it's quite a lot. There's a huge stack beside me. There's a stack on the floor. There's some right here. And I don't know. I'm gonna go through them. I'd love to know your opinions. I know that a lot of people on booktube have read these, and a lot of the reason why I own them is because other people hauled them. And it was like, booktube made me buy it type situation. So I'm not gonna go into like the synopsis of every single one of them. But I'm going to be showing you, and we'll do a little count of how many these are, because I don't know about you guys, but I like fantasy as a genre. Adult, young adult, you have it. Like, I love it. But I think at a certain point, especially when I started doing booktube, I realized the length of a lot of these books are so intimidating that I kind of stopped really like wanting to read them, which makes me really sad because I really like fantasy. So that's what it is. We're gonna get into it. You're gonna see everything. And bear with me because this might be a long one, girl. But here we go. So first up, this is a newer series, okay? I asked for From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout for Christmas. I got both books for Christmas, I believe, and I have not started the first one at all. But, I said, why not? The third one's out. Let me buy the third one, even though I haven't even started the damn series. And these are thick-ass books. Now, there are some people who like them, some people that hate them. It is what it is. But I knew this was thick. I knew that. And I said, you know what? And there's a fourth one coming out. And I still am it's in my wish list on Amazon. So as you can see, we're not starting off very good. Connie is literally sabotaging herself at all turns, twists and turns. So will I read this year? I'd like to think so. I'm not that confident, but first fantasy series and romancy series that I jumped the gun on and bought every single volume, and I haven't read it. So yeah. Next up, but obviously this is a booktube made me buy it situation. Now, I really did like The Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. I didn't like Infernal Devices. Sometimes I get those mixed up, I think. I don't like the one where it's like modern day. I like the one where it's back in the day. I think that's Mortal Instruments. Anyway, I tried Infernal Devices, couldn't get into it. So, of course, being me, everybody was talking about Lady Midnight. And I was like, oh my God, I really like this cover. I think I only read chapter 1. But I said, you know what? Fuck it. Let's buy the next 2 volumes because I absolutely love this cover. Look at how thick this is. Okay, for those of you who like Cassandra Clare, you know why did I do this? So yeah, I did this to myself. I do actually want to read this series, but there's another book, and of course I'm gonna buy it when it comes out in paperback. But as you can see, again, I have a problem. It just gets thicker as it goes. This is fantasy. Come on. Next up, for a book series that I asked for Christmas, didn't read the first book. I do intend on reading these, but I was like, hey, I want to read this. So I got all 4, and Yes, so, damn it, I can't remember what this series is called as a whole, but it's by John Gwynne. I have heard a lot of people say that they genuinely like this series, so I really, really want to read it, but every single time I'm like, oh yeah, I'll read something like that. I never do. So very disappointed in myself because, again, people have spoken very highly of the series, and I doomed myself by getting all 4. So if I don't like it, I'm gonna still read it, but like, what the fuck? Like, why do I do this to myself? Oh, and do you think you'll be surprised? I don't think you'll be surprised that I bought 3 other John Gwynne books, even though I haven't read the first series yet, because the covers are really awesome, okay? Let me tell you something. Fantasy, she knows what she's doing, okay? The covers for fantasy books are beautiful. Also thick. Just because she's tall, just because she's a tall one, does not mean she's not a thick one. I mean, this is damn near 500 pages. This one being the second one, of course, almost 700. So, gotta love that. And yeah, I don't know what the fuck this series is about. I have no idea. I literally bought it for nothing, just because I could. Just because I could. Now, technically, I didn't buy this. My former boss bought this for me for Christmas, or for my birthday. I can't remember which one. But it was City of Lies by Sam Hawke. I actually don't know if I've heard a lot of people talking about this. I may have, and I don't know if I heard good things about it, but I didn't buy it. So, good for me for one moment in this video. Another guy, Priory of the Orange Tree. I've tried to read this year. I have this as a physical copy. I have this as an ebook. And then because it came up as a prompt for the Naruto TBR challenge, I was like, you know what? I really want to read this, but love this the way that sounds, but I don't think I'm getting through her in a month. So I was like, let's do audiobook. Do you think I finished it? No. If you thought I did, you were wrong. I did not finish this book. I don't even think I made it past the 2nd chapter, if that. Now, heard good things about this. I absolutely want to read it. But, you know, of course I'm looking at it like, fuck, I bought all 3 formats of the book and I haven't read it. Can you get your life together? We shall see if I can. And yes, you guessed it, another series that I bought every single volume of and didn't even read the first book yet, and that is Furyborn, King's Bane, and Lightbringer. I actually think, I haven't heard many people say they didn't like this series. Beautiful covers, okay? This was also a cover by. She's pretty, okay? Do you see her? Bam, a little bit of shine, a little bit of sparkle, whatever. Gorgeous. Haven't read her yet. So she's just like on my shelf, like being pretty. Yeah, she's pretty, but has she been cracked open? No, she has not. And I'm really not doing right by her by not opening and reading this series. So we'll see. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see this, she's getting a little high, okay? Definitely can't stack everything that I have on this because it would topple over and kill me. But whole series here, whole series that I haven't read. Why? The Ruin of Kings. Bought this because somebody suggested it on, you know, one of the channels that was very much like fantasy heavy, like they mostly read fantasy. Don't know what it's about. Do like the cover, but got it because a booktuber recommended it, and we'll see if I like it. I will say this though, I think like this has 2 more books out already. Didn't buy the whole series. Sometimes I get it right. Next up is Courting Darkness. Now, my husband actually bought this for me like a few years ago when it first came out. I think for Christmas or my birthday. Loved the cover. I can't remember if I've heard many people talk about this. I think this came out within the same year as Gilded Wolves because I remember having this and Gilded Wolves at the same time. I just ended up reading Gilded Wolves first. So I think that this is similar in some ways, you know, ye olde times, I think in France, I'm not sure. Court of Mysteries, I don't know. But I do want to read this. I look at this from time to time and say, I would like to read that. So yeah. Okay, so this one actually makes me really sad that I haven't read this yet, because I absolutely loved Foundryside, and this came out during quarantine. I think this came out right when we went into lockdown. So I got this delivered to me, and I was like, oh, well, I'm obviously going to reread Foundryside. I never did. I really do want to. But I'm sad that I actually haven't read this one because I was so invested in the story. I think I read Foundryside in like 2 days. And it was only 2 days because like I went to Comic-Con. So like I had to participate in that instead of read. But I do want to read this really, really badly. If you have read this, what do you think? And I would recommend Foundryside, so just putting that out there. This one was absolutely like a booktube made me buy it situation. Now I did like the circus book, The Night Circus, Aaron Morgenstern's first book, okay? I think. Now, I haven't read that in a long time, and as I've gotten older, I wonder, did I really like that book? Or would I really like that book if I reread it? But you know what? I said, why don't I just get the second one? Why not? Since I don't think it was my personality that I liked The Night Circus, you know? I don't think that was like a part of my personality where like I'm just like obsessed with that book. Recently. It was in the beginning. It was when I first read The Night Circus. So I was like, I'm absolutely gonna love this. Haven't read it. Didn't really think about how long it was. And then I think I also got to the point where I was like, do I even like magical realism? See how I played myself? So we shall see. When I ever get to this book, I really do want to read it, but I heard a lot of people say like, it's a little much. So since I'm at an age where I don't like a little much, we'll see if I ever read it. So wish me luck. Next up is The Sisters of the Winterwood. This was just a cover buy. I don't think I even saw anybody mention this. I mean, I'm sure I've seen somebody mention this, but I just was in Barnes & Noble one day. I saw this in the fantasy section, bought it, whatever. So I don't know anything about it. And that's it. I don't even know if this is a series, if this is a standalone, but I bought it based off of the cover. Oh, it's not that bad. It's a little over 400 pages. So we shall see about this guy. Next up are some young adult ones. So Children of Virtue and Vengeance. I read the first book, loved the first book, was obsessed with the book. Wanted to get every single like special Barnes & Noble version of it. I know, like sometimes I do too much. But didn't this book get pushed back a little bit? I think that like it was supposed, well, this is just a random month. We'll say like it was supposed to come out in March and it didn't come out until the end of the year. So at that point, it had been a really long time since I read the first book that I wanted to reread the first book. And I always do this to myself. So then like get back into the second book. But I realized, you know what? I'll just read the second book. It's not that big of a deal. Haven't gotten around to it yet, but I do want to read this. Like this will happen. I just haven't gotten around to it. So definitely plan on reading this second book. I can't remember if this is considered a duology or not. If it is, then hey, I'm done with the series, and there you have it. Love this cover. You know, I like for both of them, for the Barnes & Noble covers, I took the dust jacket off because I mean, look at the blue. The other one's red. Beautiful. Love it. Gorgeous. Tell me what you thought of it if you read it. And two other books I got because other people suggested on BookTube, but I still am really interested in reading, and that's Girls of Storm and Shadow, and then Girls of Paper and Fire. This was absolutely a cover buy, and like someone on BookTube mentioned it. Gorgeous. Now, again, I don't remember if this is a duology or not. It could be a trilogy and I just don't have the third book. But another one of those instances where I bought the first book, not like the second book's going anywhere. Like, that's the other thing with me and buying the whole series. Is it going somewhere? If I don't buy them all right now, are they just gonna disappear? Why do I do this? Why do any of us do this to ourselves? I don't know. I do want to make a point moving forward after we get to the next stack of declaring that when it comes to fantasy, I will not buy the whole series until I've read the first book. I am declaring that now, and I will stick beside that. Just saying, I believe in myself moving forward. All right, next up, Cover by The Unbroken. I got this at Barnes & Noble a few months ago. A lot of people have already read this and they said it was really good, so I think this is the only book in the series. So I can't jump the gun, but I will read it first before I go and buy the whole series. I promise you, I'm not gonna do what I've done in the past before, what I've done behind me. The Gilded Ones, now gorgeous, love the cover. This is a young adult, I believe, and Cover by, booktube, haven't heard anything bad about it, so again, first book in the series, I think this is a series, I'm still safe, I just have to read it. Yeah, The Last Smile in Sunder City, right? The Last Smile in Sunder City, yes. Who talked about this? Couple talked about this, couple recommended this, a couple books, did a good job, only about the first one. Didn't buy the second one. There's a second book. So doing good, making progress. This was this year that I bought this. Don't know what it's about. I did watch the video where a couple talked about it, but it's been so long that I don't remember what it's about. So, but hey, not that long. So this actually could be something I could read next month and actually complete it and finish it and be fine and knock something off of my TBR. The Queen of Hiding, another cover by, but also this ended up being a book that when I looked at the prompts for the Pop Sugar Challenge, this ended up being one that fits a prompt. Can't remember what it is. And again, you know what? Look at me, because most of these books are not new. This is a newer book. And look at me. I did not buy all the extra books in the series. I only have the first one. So I didn't even know I was making progress, but I am. So maybe this year I will finish this. Okay. I'm pretty sure that this is only a duology anyway, but The Grave of Empires, kind of a cover by slash, man, there is a booktuber who's from Australia and I cannot remember her name now, but she's really like fantasy person, and she spoke really highly of these like a year or so ago. I said, why not force myself, you know, to read something this long, even though I don't remember what she said it was about and didn't really read the back. Theme here. So hopefully this is a duology and there's not more. Because if I don't like it, you know where the story's going. Next up is Black Sun. Heard nothing but good things about this book. Definitely a, you know, everybody was talking about it on booktube / cover by. Don't remember what it's about. This came out sometime last year. But I purposely didn't watch people talk about, like, review it. So I kind of I don't remember what it's about at all. So maybe this year, because the second book I think comes out this year, either later this year or sometime next year. So the second book's coming out. I need to finish it. I need to actually start it if I ever plan on buying more. Knock on book. And then The Bone Shard Daughter. Another one where a lot of people on BookTube talked about it. I think I will like this. And like this book and Black Sun really, well, they don't seem that long. Probably because they're tall hardcover. She's a little over 4. But have heard really great things about this. So not totally mad at myself for buying it, but still haven't read it. So maybe this year. 34 books, 34 fantasy books. that I own that are still on my shelves that I haven't read yet. Some are a full fucking series that I have not even cracked the first book open for. I know. I hate me too. So, I'm not going to read all these this year. I don't think there's any way I could read them all this year. I don't have the attention span for it. Plus, I just did a manga book haul, so obviously I've got over 20 of those. And that's not even counting the romance that I bought, because I've bought a few romance books. That's not also counting like books that I didn't unhaul in my unhaul video from last year, but I haven't read or finished yet. So don't think that like these books that are surrounding me, it's all that's on like the TBR shelf. It's a lot more. And I didn't even go over the book of the month books that I own. And I did skip some months, but I have a whole shelf of book of the month that I haven't read. I must be stopped. And I don't know if anybody remembers, but you know, on Twitter, I was like, I'm going on a book buying ban. That didn't last the month. That didn't even last like 2 weeks. I still bought books. And now, thanks, I did get sent 2 books from a publisher, unsolicited. So that's really exciting. So yes, this is me, Connie, speaking to you because I do watch my videos. Stop it. You are not allowed to buy any other fantasy ever until you finish these books, okay? Stop this now before it gets even further out of control. So yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking by me as you saw what I do. But hey, I would like to say these books aren't all books that I've bought in one sitting. This is like an accumulation of like, I think almost like 3 years, honestly. 3 years. No, actually maybe longer, because some of them are older. Like some of these I got them when they came out. So we'll say like 2.5 years of fantasy, I think. Blah, blah, blah. 2.5? Something. Anyway, I can do it. I believe in myself. At some point I will read these books. I will. And maybe I'll do a video about it. Tick them off. But anyway, thank you. Thank you for sitting here, watching all of this. I appreciate it. Any of these books, have you read them? Do you recommend some that I read first before others? And do you do this yourself? I think all of us who are readers, we are book collectors first before we readers, aren't we? So yes, thank you for watching. If you like the video, please like the video. If you like it, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you all have a really great day. Goodbye.